Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Man, it is going to be crazy the next few days because it's just news is just flying all over the place. And as soon as I start uploading one, it's all of a sudden something else happens. We just got finished talking about Dak Prescott and Zach Martin redoing their deals. Cowboys get $14.7 million in cap space. Talking about the ramifications about what can happen as far as with the money that they have, how they can get some more money. Then we end up having word that the Cowboys are talking to Zeke Elliott about a cap reduction, not a restructure. They're talking about reducing his salary and seeing if they can work that deal out to get some more cap relief on there. Then, as soon as we get that out, we end up talking about Odell Beckham Jr. having a workout for the Giants, the Jets. New England was there, as well as the Ravens teams interested in him. The strange thing was the Cowboys had nobody there. But don't slow down just yet, because the Cowboys say it's not a matter of whether or not he's healthy. We understand where he is from when we met with him before. It's going to come down to dollars and cents. I mean, there may be a bidding war. If he is 100% healthy, it could be that he demands, $20 million. You've got to think that he's going to get at least what Michael Gallup had. And speaking of Michael Gallup, that is another candidate to have his contract restructured. They believe that a year away from the ACL, having more time in this offseason to really heal, that he'll be back closer to where he was. Okay, we get that. Just when I thought I had a chance to catch my breath, we find out there's an emergency injunction out today at 2 o'clock in the court for Michael Irvin, where they're basically saying Marriott's playing games with us as far as the tape goes. They did not allow us to take the tape or copy the tape, to show the tape, and so on. Judge, they're skirting the rules. They're skirting the judgment, and we want a judgment in this defamation case because we are trying to defend our attorney. So we go through and we get that done. Then we find out, we all know that Bobby Wagner, among other people, because it looks like the Rams are on fire sale. They we won our Super Bowl a couple years ago. We've gotten old. We need to go ahead and jettison these contracts, get ourselves some draft picks, and it's time to start all over. We know that Jalen Ramsey is a guy that they're kind of shopping around too, because they look at him and they say, let's get ahead of him before he wants to sign another contract, because we don't want to pay him more money. We've heard that they're also shopping around Matthew Stafford, because now they're having buyer's remorse about him being able to be healthy for the long haul. And of course, the first shot of all this was Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner, who, surprisingly, the Cowboys were interested in. Dan Quinn did speak with him last year. Allegedly, the Cowboys made an offer, but it wasn't as good an offer as he got with the Rams. The thought with a lot of people, especially when I talked about signing Bobby Wagner last year, was, well, Bobby Wagner, he's old, man. He's spent. He's done. I was kind of like, no, we're talking about a guy that just came off 170 tackles in one season. If he is slowing down a little bit, I said, let's say he slows down to 130 tackles, I'd take that. Well, he slowed down to 140 tackles, 6 sacks, and 2 interceptions, and was the defensive MVP for the Rams. The Rams look at it and say, well, it's too much money. The crazy thing is he signed a 5-year deal. I think it was worth $50 million. Now, what I say, when you sign these deals, don't look at the final number. What you have to look at is the guaranteed money. And the way the Rams structured it was, the first year was $2.5 million cap hit. The second year was going to be $12.5 million. So the way they signed that contract was, $15 million for the first 2 years. And then you basically had an out of, I think, $7 million would be dead money had they held on to him for this year. So, not exactly the worst contract that there is. You could have literally had Bobby Wagner for $7.5 million if you had matched the Rams' offer for last year and this year. From where I'm standing at, that would have been a steal. Now, we have Seattle having second thoughts. Seattle has spoken to him today as well about a possible return. The Cowboys have talked to him about possibly signing with the Cowboys. We've also heard that other teams like the Ravens may be interested, as well as others, because clearly he is 32 years old. He hasn't lost a step. Now, the question is, would he want to go back to Seattle, the team that ended up getting rid of all of his teammates and things, and return where he won his Super Bowl with Pete Carroll? Or would he like to be with this defensive coordinator, with a team that may be closer, that may be trying to go all in? If you sign a Bobby Wagner, if you clear up cap space and you try and get some of these other guys, you're basically trying to do the new football way of doing business, which is getting your hired assassins to come in with a team, a core group of a team there, and try and add enough substance that you can just overpower everybody else. I believe, or I want to believe, that this is the Cowboys actually saying, enough already. Jerry, you got more time behind you than you do in front of you. It's time for us to try and push our chips, all of our chips in, and try and see if we can win this thing, because time is short. And you now look at the possibility of guys like Aaron Rodgers, who may be in the AFC. Tom Brady is retired. You know that the Eagles will be taking a step back. They're already having Devarius Slay shop himself around, trying to get some cap relief. They got to pay their quarterback. They know it's going to be hard to keep together the team that they had. And knowing that teams that have lost the Super Bowl, it's hard to go back. And generally speaking, they always take steps back. You look at this and say, there's opportunity. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFC right now. There's good ones. You got your Jalen Hurts, and now we got your Derek Carr, although I don't know that Derek Carr is truly that first ballot Hall of Famer. But if you had a piece like Bobby Wagner to help in that run support, if you get that big man in the middle, and if you could possibly sign a Jalen Ramsey, that defense will be very, very scary. And then if you can add some firepower to go with Dak Prescott and fix the offensive line, you'd have to all of a sudden, for once, legitimately say that the Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender. We hear it every year that we're a Super Bowl contender, but very rarely is it actually the case. We'll keep watching on this. I think I'm going to need to get some supplies down here and literally just strap myself to the desk for all the news that's happening. I'm Mark Holmes, and make sure you subscribe because we're covering it all. Peace.